Dogman, huh? So, the fusion between a dog and a human being. I've seen this somewhere before. I just can't put my finger on it.
Person Edward. Big Brother Ed.
I'm sorry. I could help myself. It was low-hanging fruit. At least I got it out of the way. I'm getting off track though. The marketing for this movie was decent, all things considered, which speaks volumes because DreamWorks isn't particularly good when it comes to this sort of thing. Regardless of any of that, the question is this movie good? I mean, it kinda has to be, right? Seeing as how beloved the Captain Underpants movie is. And to that I say, yes, DreamWorks cooked. So let's talk about it. I should start off by prefacing that Dogman is actually the second thing by Dave Pilkey that DreamWorks has adapted into a movie. The first, obviously, being Captain Underpants. I find it absolutely hilarious that if this movie sees success at the box office, Dave Pilkey could essentially be a damn near infinite source of income for DreamWorks. Why do I say this? This man's bag is so deep. I mean, just look at the amount of books that he's created, and he's still making them. As a matter of fact, he has a new one coming out later this year. With a discography like that and Dave Pilkey's longevity, there's no ceiling. There just isn't. You know what's funny though? You'd expect Diary of a Wimpy Kid to get this type of love and care, but nah, I guess the best it can get was... this shit is terrible. As far as the person directing Dogman, Peter Hastings, I was not really high on him for real. Like, he's mostly known for directing the Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness series, and I can't lie, I actually did like it when I was younger. But I attribute a lot of that due to the fact that Kung Fu Panda is my favorite animated trilogy ever. Trilogy, not this. This some bullshit. Regardless, I had no choice but to let him cook, and I gotta say, he did a pretty good job. So, what even is Dogman? What's it about? Well, Dogman follows a character named Officer Knight and his dog Greg on a pursuit for an evil cat named Petey. He's really evil. Did I mention that he was evil? Because he makes it a point to let us know throughout the entire film. Petey manages to get one over on the pair with a bomb as it blows up due to Officer Knight's ignorance, damaging the body of Greg the dog and the head of Officer Knight. This catastrophe results in the two getting surgery, creating Dogman. Don't ask about the logistics of how it works, just move on. With this seemingly successful surgery, Dogman is seen as this damn near perfect cop as he continuously catches Petey after his numerous escapes from cat jail. That's kind of the problem though. Petey keeps escaping from jail. This pisses the mayor off, which leads her to forcing Chief to remove Dogman from the Petey case. It's okay, Dogman, I know it's not your fault. She's a dumbass. While this is happening, Petey's seen cooking up his next evil plan for Dogman, which is pretty much the basis of the plot for the rest of the movie. The story of Dogman isn't groundbreaking or anything like that, but that's the thing. It knows it's a silly movie and it doesn't take itself too seriously, but not in a way where it's just exaggerated ridiculousness. I think a good amount of people forget that and they end up ruining a pleasant experience for themselves. Like, Dogman is a story created by two 4th graders. These people don't have ears. They can't say seriously.
Seriously?
The world itself is a visual representation of how wacky George and Harold's imagination truly is. Regardless of that, this film's comedy is executed in a controlled manner. Sure, it's still a bit wacky, but in a way that complements the style of the movie. The humor was actually funny. Like this movie nails its comedic timing.
Here, call this number.
Life's not fair.
What?
Life's not fair.
It's crazy, because I didn't expect this movie to be as funny as it was from the perspective of an adult. But no, yeah, this movie is comedy gold. Heh. Comedy gold.
Comedy gold!
Where the movie truly shines is with its characters. Dogman himself is a nonverbal character, but DreamWorks gives him a lot of personality through his actions. I believe his backstory from a different lens is kinda depressing. The experiment between Officer Knight and Greg the dog initially feels like a success as it combines the strengths from each of them, but then we're shown the downside of it all. We're shown the negative impact it has on Dogman as a character. He loses his house, his girlfriend, and he himself, being a product of the remains of two characters, creates this sense of conflict with his own identity. He's lonely. I know it's a kids movie, but I feel like the film should have taken a little bit more time in setting it up. Give us more time with Officer Knight and Greg the dog so we can truly feel the tragedy of what happened to them. Cause honestly, that's what Dogman is, a tragic character. Now on the other side of that coin, we have Petey, who I personally think stole the show. He's the type of character who resorts to doing evil due to his unresolved trauma. Abandonment issues, am I right? No? Alright. As far as Petey's development goes, it genuinely feels natural despite this movie's fast pacing. They toy with the aspect of, yeah, he's evil, but there's some good in him, which makes him an addition to the whole villain redemption trope. But I do think he's an outlier of what it's become. I also want to explain that it's because he's similar to Doofenshmirtz, like he's devoted to doing evil, but he's not necessarily doing harm, and I feel like that explains it really well. It also helps if you have a little Petey. He's adorable, I can't lie. He also serves as a character who impacts both Dogman and Petey himself. Dogman in a way where he helps him to not feel lonely anymore. Petey in a way where he helps him to understand that the world isn't all bad. His trauma shouldn't define how he lives his life. People can change. It's a great message that gets his point across through Petey that genuinely feels earned. It's such a beautiful journey to witness too. This film low-key plays with your emotions and I wasn't expecting it at all. I gotta say, the other side characters are actually pretty enjoyable too. The Chief and reporter Sarah Hadoff specifically added a decent amount of replay value. Which brings me to my next point, weirdly enough. The voice actors. They kinda surprised me, but not in the way where I would either be blown away or disgusted by their performances. More so just how much their natural voices fit the characters that they were voicing. Now, that's not to say that I don't think they did a good job. I think they did fine enough. I'm just saying that the first thing that really came to my mind was, oh, her voice really fits this character, or his voice really fits that character. Like, I can still tell that's Pete Davidson. I can still tell that's Lil Rel Howery, but it didn't ruin the immersion for me. As a matter of fact, I'd go out my way to say I think Pete Davidson did a great job voicing Petey. Now, I don't necessarily know how I expected Petey to sound, but Pete Davidson is all I can hear now. So yeah, all the voice actors did their thing. Now let's talk about the best thing about this film. The art and animation is really well done. Not necessarily to the heights of the Wild Robot and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but it looks really good nonetheless. It feels like it was ripped straight out of the books. From the whooshes, the swooshes, the smears, the backgrounds, the anticipation into the follow-up action, the colors, and the lowered frame rates. The characters themselves, they have so much personality just simply talking to each other. You can completely remove the sound and it wouldn't change a thing. The movements and flow of everything are exaggerated just enough to where it complements the world as a whole. Like this is what I envision whenever I look at a page of Dogman. It actually has that look and feel like it's a world created by children, especially when you compare it side by side to Captain Underpants. DreamWorks has mastered transitioning Dave Pilkey's style into animation. What's crazy is that it could have easily been overly animated. What do I mean by this? Well, let's take the latest season of SpongeBob for example. While I do think the animation is good, the characters are always over exaggerated. They could be doing something as simple as conversing with each other, and the animation goes out of its way to make said thing wacky just for the sake of being such, which creates this sense of abnormality and makes everything feel off-putting. Dogman ain't like that though. Like this is crazy. Why can't we have this all the time, DreamWorks? Why must you always lead me on like we're gonna get good quality solid films all the time and then throw Megamind 2 at my dome piece? Like, what are we doing? Look, listen, if you like Captain Underpants, then I'm more than certain that you'll like this film too. Even if you haven't read the books, you'll have a good time. With that being said, because of the humor, the characters, and the good animation, I'm giving Dogman a solid 7. I look forward to more DreamWorks and Dave Pilkey collaborations. DreamWorks has really been in their bag when it comes to adaptations. From How to Train Your Dragon, Mr. Peabody and Sherman. I don't care what y'all say, this movie's a fucking banger. Captain Underpants, The Wild Robot, and now Dogman? Tuh! We're starting the year off so strong, and the fact that we're still getting Bad Guys 2, Elio, and Zootopia 2 all this year? Man, look, listen, I'll be covering all of that, so subscribe to your boy to stay tuned. We out, y'all.